Hey everyone, Mike Wolf here, and welcome to another edition of Entrepreneurs Making a Difference, where we connect entrepreneurs from all over the globe so they can do things, collaborate and do things together to have a bigger impact on this planet. So today I'd like to welcome my guest. His name is Grant Kelba, and he's actually from my hometown of Calgary, Alberta, Canada. So it's good to have him here. I'm just going to read his bio before we bring him on here. So he is the consummate entrepreneur who has created unique business ventures and concepts his entire working career. Not one to simply work for someone else, he has dedicated his life to killing sacred cows and reinvent current business practices. It's not enough for Grant to simply sit behind his desk. His community involvement as a volunteer, participant, and supporter of many different worthy causes has given him a unique and different perspective on what's important. From professional sports to technology, travel, real estate, and promotional products, his vast and varied experience has led him to one conclusion. It's that the small business community could and would be doing more for corporate social responsibility and charitable giving if it somehow translated into additional business benefit. Companies were not created to simply give away their profit. In fact, it's in their DNA to maximize profit. There has to be a deliberate effort to dedicate funds to charity, comments Kelba. So welcome to the show, Grant.
Hey, that's great. Well said, Mike. Thank you very much for having me on.
It's my pleasure to have you here, and it's good to see you. And
Yes, as
yeah, so
well.
you're doing all kinds of really amazing things. So your main project is called I Will Help, and so tell the audience a little bit about that and how that works.
Yeah, I will help. .ca is an application that I created not that long ago, about just over a year ago, I guess. And what I'm trying to do there is create an easy and convenient way for the small to medium-sized business sector to engage with their clients and contribute to charity in such a way that their clients are also a part of the picture. The way we do this is it's very simple in theory, but the software behind it is quite complicated, and it makes it easy for both participants to make this transaction work. What happens now is, let's say you're a small business person, whether you could be a single proprietor like a real estate person, or you've got a small manufacturing company of maybe 20, 25 people. You've got a client list of hopefully hundreds of different people that you work with on an annual basis. What essentially I Will Help does, it facilitates the ability for my company to give to charity, but gives the power to my clients to select the charity of where it goes to. So it's not so, I guess it's not so much as having me saying, as a business owner, I'm going to donate to charity. And so this is the charity of my choice, and I just happen to be very involved with the Kiwanis Club here in Calgary, and we do some pretty good work. And so it's one thing for me to give to the Kiwanis Club, but if I truly want my business to get some mileage out of this donation, then why not give the power to my clients and let them select the charity of their choice? It brings philanthropy and marketing together, which also means I can extend, and most businesses can take their marketing budget or a portion of their marketing budget and dedicate that a little bit more towards philanthropy as opposed to just straight advertising or some sort of client engagement. Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a really great concept and a great model. So, how did you come up with this idea in the first place? What made you design? How did you design this, and what I guess what was your intention when you first started to build it?
Well, actually, I came up with the idea, and then I started to build it, and then I started coming across a whole bunch of statistics that further enforced what we were doing here in the creation of it. It came from my desire to donate to charity and contribute anywhere between 1 to 5% of my before-tax profit to good causes. It also came to light that when you're dealing with large companies, and I had some very large clients or large companies, and I was dealing with individuals within these companies, especially public companies. They're very, very in tune and very sensitive to giving their employees gratitude gifts. You walk a very thin line between graft and thank yous when you deal with some larger companies. So I thought, well, instead of me, having to justify a lunch or a gift or maybe even tickets to a hockey game, what if I were to donate to charity, but allow the person within that company to select the charity of their choice? They're not touching the money, they're not getting a gift. However, they're selecting the charity of their choice that is getting the gift. And ran it by some of the large companies and individuals in these companies, and they loved the idea. They thought it was great. So with that in mind, we finished out the software, and now I take a portion of my marketing money and I let my clients pick the charity.
I love that. I think that's a great idea. So what's the main, I guess, what's the main focus, going forward of I Will Help?
Well, here in Canada, here's a couple of statistics that are very key to the business model. $10.5 billion is donated to charity in Canada on an annual basis. Of that amount, only 4% of that comes from small to medium-sized business, which is a staggeringly low amount given the kind of dollar volume that goes through small business, both in Canada and the U.S., actually around the world. Small to medium-sized business is the economic driver, and only 4% of that is going to charity. So that was an alarming statistic that I came across. The other one was up here in Canada. $27 billion is spent by businesses annually on marketing and promotions. And if I could take some of that marketing money, let's say I take 1% of that marketing money, and I am able to create a facility that allows that marketing money to be spent on marketing that ultimately ends up in the hands of charities, even 1% of that 27 billion increases the donation amount from small to medium-sized business by 50%. So those two things working together, I'm really trying to create a bridge between marketing and philanthropy, where people can engage with each other, not necessarily for their personal benefit, but for the benefit of the community that they reside in.
Yeah, very cool. So how long have you been? How long has this been up and running? And also, how has it been received by the public? And I guess small and medium-sized businesses are your demographic that you go after. How's it been received by them?
Well, once they get it, because it does sort of take the paradigm of marketing and philanthropy and turn it on its head. So once they get it, like you have gotten it, they go, "Wow, that's cool. I can make that work for me." And so the pickup and the take up has been pretty good, actually. We've been moving money to charities now for probably about 18 months or so. Every month we get a little bit stronger, a little bit better in doing that. And a little bit more time on refining the software a little bit. We're tweaking it. We're almost still a little bit in the beta part of it. Tweak the software a little bit, and then really start driving it out there. Starting attending some trade shows, business trade shows, and so on and so forth. So really, without marketing it extensively as I wanted to, we've done some really good things with it, with a few hundred companies already starting to use it quite regularly.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. So where do you see this growing, and where do you see it going? If you could have a crystal ball and see 5 years into the future, where do you see your company being?
Well, I guess the other component about this I Will Help is I've built a CRM into it. And so I can put in reminder milestones. So, for example, your birthday, I would put it in there. And so I would help it let me know that it's your birthday, and I could send you some I Will Help credits that you would turn into a donation to a charity of your choice. So because I can also use it as a CRM, I see a lot of uptick in this. And some of the larger CRMs are a little bit unwieldy for the small business person to try and use. They're largely because they're so big and they've got so many features added in. that I believe that I Will Help will be the kind of application that could really penetrate a lot of the smaller markets and the smaller companies, which means my opportunity here is worldwide. So although we're experimenting and working very closely with iwillhelp.ca, we do want to create I Will Help for other jurisdictions. And so to make your short question answered very long, I can see I Will Help being I Will Help California, I Will Help Nevada, I Will Help Norway, I Will Help Australia. So I see a worldwide penetration because each one of these markets has different rules and regulations. So we have to understand the market that we're going into before we can customize it for every jurisdiction.
Yeah, okay. So I'm just looking at your bio here again, and it says, I mean, before you were doing this, I know you've been involved in real estate and travel and quite a few other things. What are some of your passions outside of your business? What are some of the things that light you up? And also, what sort of things, in addition to your business, how do you want to change the planet, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at.
Well, I come from, I was very fortunate when I was much younger to be involved with a number of charities and not-for-profit organizations. I also had the opportunity to work with the Calgary Stampeders, the football club, and the Calgary Flames, the hockey club, among other professional sports teams in their community service and community investment departments, and saw the power that these organizations had when it came to making the world better. And so I've sort of dedicated myself individually to coming up with ideas and contributing to the community. So when I'm not sitting behind this desk and working, I lead a very active life on a variety of different boards and committees, working with underprivileged children and working with, like I said, the Kiwanis Club, where we own a summer camp just west of the city here. We offer camping vacations for kids who desperately need it. Someone asked me the other day if, there's so many charities, there's so many opportunities, there's so many different needs out there. What would be the most important need that you could fulfill or you could target? And I very quickly answered children under 10. If we can contribute to their betterment, whether it be through nutrition, education, lifestyle, or safety, for children under 10, you lay the groundwork for the rest of their lives. And so those are the kinds of organizations that I like to contribute to.
Yeah, all very worthy causes, and I have been on your website, and it's amazing how many charities there are out there and how many people do need help. So it makes it hard to pick because you want to give to everybody, right?
Well, that's true, and like the I Will Help for Canada has 83,000 registered charities on it. You can imagine how many registered charities there are in the U.S., whether they be state or federal registered. Which is why I don't necessarily want to select the charity that the money goes to. But if you, for example, have a charity or a cause that is very near and dear to your heart, and someone gave you the opportunity to make a donation to that charity, then through the simple act of making a couple of clicks on your web browser, then how would you feel about that person? And how would you feel about doing business with that person? And how would you feel about referring that person to somebody else, knowing that every time you interact with this person, or whether it be through Christmas or whatever, you're given the opportunity to make a donation to a charity of your choice.
Yeah, so true, so true. So who are some of your influences? Most serial entrepreneurs I know, there was always maybe some book or some person in their life that really inspired them and got them on that entrepreneurial path. Is there somebody that comes to mind, or maybe several somebodies?
Well, certainly when you're an entrepreneur, it's in your DNA. It's not for everyone. Many people I know like that regular paycheck. So you have to be, in some respects, grown into it, which means that's what my dad did.
Mhm.
And so I saw him and I witnessed firsthand the trials and tribulations and the ups and downs of being successful, and learning from the mistakes, and not fearing the opportunities out there. Go for it. Make your mistakes. Just learn from them. So certainly my dad was great at making mistakes, but he never said he made mistakes, but he paid for one hell of an education.
Mhm.
So with that kind of an attitude, you damn the torpedoes and it's full speed ahead. There's also been some other entrepreneurs here in the city that are, I consider, close friends, and Art being one of them. I don't know if he wants me to use his last name, so I'll just keep it quiet. But really, not the entrepreneur that you know does a lot of fanfare for his own personal branding, I guess. But those people who are successful and have done great jobs, but don't necessarily need to be front and center in front of the camera. They work better behind the scenes. So I take my counsel from some pretty key people.
Yeah, well, that sounds great. Sounds like you have some good influences in your life, which is always important for us entrepreneurs. We need that. So we need to wrap things up here relatively soon. But if you had one message you could send out to our listeners or to the universe, what would that message be?
I think I've already said that message. Go forth with no fear. Uh, Keep on plugging and do your research and understand as much as you can, but don't let fear of failure stop you from pursuing your dream, because the last thing you want is at the end of your life to sit on the front porch and sit there and think shoulda, woulda, coulda. Even if you get down that road a little bit and realize it's not something that's going to work out, at least you've done everything you can to make sure that you're satisfied that that road that you may have taken was one that was worth the opportunity
Great.
or worth the try.
Thanks for those. Yeah, thanks for those great words of wisdom. So, if somebody wants to get a hold of you to learn more about your I Will Help business or anything else about you, how would they do that?
They can always drop me an email. It's grant@iwillhelp.ca.
Perfect. That sounds great. So, I want to thank you for being here and sharing with the audience. And I wish you all the best with your business. And if there's anything I can do to help, by all means, let me know.
Oh, you've done great. Thank you so much for having me on the show. Thanks.
Well, it's a pleasure having you here, and it's also a pleasure having you, the audience, tuning in, and I thank you for that. And I look forward to seeing you again soon on another episode of Entrepreneurs Making a Difference. I'm Mike Wolf.